My name is Brigid Mulligan and I'm based in County Galway. I did my degree back in 2009 in GMIT and I specialised in sculpture. And after a few years working and travelling, I decided to go back and study and do an MA in creative practice. And that was in 2018. My work is based on kind of concepts and really focused on the human experience of losing, of grief and of anxiety. My material is kind of chosen with the idea, so it can evolve from printmaking or sculpture or installation. It kind of starts with a seed of an idea or an object that will trigger what I use. So I find it hard to say when people ask me what medium I work in because it can be so varied. So I like working in charcoal animation as well as object making with found object. My show that I had in Artlinks is called A Portrait of a Life Through Belonging, and it's based on the loss of my brother Sean in 2002. Sean was only 21 and I was 16 years old when he died in a tragic motorbike accident. And I think experiencing loss at such a young age has really formed the way I see the world and life and how life should be lived. So in a tribute to him this year, in the 20th year of his death, I decided to make an archive of his life, and I did this by photographing 21 of his belongings and printing them in cyanotype. So each of the prints are life-size and they range from the size of a wristwatch up to the size of a motorbike. My brother Sean was a motorbike mechanic as well, so that's really important too. And I think the colossal kind of effect of grief from such a traumatic accident as a motorbike accident at such a young age is kind of still reeling. Time doesn't really heal and it still feels like it could have happened yesterday. Not just for me, but for all of my family. So the importance of each object is that it all contains memories of him and a real sentiment, like how material, cloth, fabric, plastic can hold a part of person, essentially. And what do you do when you're left with all these things? How long do you hold on to them? And if you let them go, are you letting go of a person? So it's kind of important to think about him, and not just that he died, but that he lived, and he lived for 21 years, and he loved certain things, like he loved his motorbike, he loved his camcorder, he loved filming, he was really interested in directing in films and play. He was really funny, and he really enjoyed shooting. He had a shotgun, he enjoyed hunting. So each object has a real significance to a person and essentially is a portrait of his life. I think cyanotype lends itself really well to slowing down, probably because I've worked with these objects for years before and I struggled. I used to listen to my brother's favourite music and draw his clothes and his runners and the things that he was wearing the night he died. So I kind of looked at each stitch of clothing and contemplated a lot. So in cyanotype, when I really wanted the images to be on their own, floating in the white space. So I brought them into Photoshop and I cut them out and I looked at each stitch again. So it made me slow down and see the spaces in between and really look at each of his belongings really, really closely. Each piece has its own memory, and that's what's really important. The archive is built and it exists on 21 objects, and one for each year of his life, to show his interests and what he left behind and the impact that his life had on all of his family and friends. The other objects that were part of the show are made up of motorbike indicators, and the reason for this is because I had one of his motorcycle indicators that I held on to for years and years, and it always was in my studio. I always kind of was in the work. And in 2018, when I did my master's, it triggered a whole body of work and a series of works on using motorcycle indicators. I suppose the importance of the indicator as a slight indication of life, and it saves people's lives. And also the kind of gentle flickering of the lights is really important, and kind of the way they work in relation to the prints in this space actually was really nice to see. Yeah, I think that's what is really important. And when someone is taken quickly, suddenly, or in a tragic circumstance, we can really focus on how they're taken, and it kind of can take away the years that they lived for a while, I think, and then you can take them back, and you can go, no, look at all these amazing memories that we've had and we've shared, and we need to focus on them now, and we need to make sure that we keep those memories alive, because that one day where that person is gone, you know, those 21 years before. So it's really important to focus on that. And that's why I think a lot of my family, especially my family from Derry, came to see the show here, and people from home came up from Longford, and I think they really enjoyed talking about Sean again and talking about their experience of knowing him, because when someone dies, I think a lot of people kind of stop talking and they say they don't want to upset people because they don't want to, but really it upsets people when you don't talk about people. So I think keeping their memory alive and keeping the conversation going is really important.